He never lost a battle. He predicted the greatest Native American military victory in history before it happened. He was the most wanted man in America, and the U.S. government was so afraid of him that they had him killed, not by soldiers, but by his own people. His name was Sitting Bull. And this is not just the story of a warrior. This is the story of a man who carried the entire weight of his nation on his shoulders and refused to put it down, even when it killed him. This is the real story of Sitting Bull, and it is more extraordinary than anything Hollywood has ever shown you. Sitting Bull was born around 1831 in what is now South Dakota, in the heart of Lakota Sioux territory. His birth name was Hunkesni, meaning slow. Not because he was slow of mind or body, but because he was deliberate, careful. He moved with intention. He earned his adult name, Tatanka Iotake, Sitting Bull, through a vision. The name carried deep spiritual meaning. The buffalo was the center of Lakota life. A sitting bull, grounded, immovable, powerful, was the highest symbol of strength and purpose. From childhood, Sitting Bull showed extraordinary gifts. He counted his first coup, the Lakota honor of touching a live enemy in battle, at age 14. He was already a warrior of exceptional courage. But Sitting Bull was never just a fighter. From his earliest years, those around him recognized that he possessed something rarer than physical courage. He had spiritual vision. He had political wisdom. He had the ability to inspire people, to make them believe that their cause was worth dying for. By the time he was a young man, Sitting Bull was recognized across the Lakota Nation as something exceptional. Not just a warrior, a leader, a holy man, a prophet. What made Sitting Bull truly extraordinary was not his military skill. It was his spiritual power. Sitting Bull was a Wichasha Wakan, a holy man, a medicine man, a man whose connection to the spiritual world was recognized by everyone who knew him. He communed with animals, he received visions, he interpreted dreams, he performed ceremonies that connected his people to Wakan Tanka, the Great Spirit, in ways that gave them strength, courage, and purpose. His most famous vision came at the Sundance of 1876, just weeks before the Battle of Little Bighorn. Sitting Bull danced for 3 days. He offered 100 pieces of flesh cut from his arms as a sacrifice, and then, exhausted, in spiritual communion, he saw a vision. He saw soldiers falling from the sky, falling upside down like grasshoppers, falling into the Lakota camp. He told his people, "A great victory is coming. The soldiers are coming to us, and they will fall." Weeks later, General Custer arrived at Little Bighorn. By 1876, the Lakota Sioux and the U.S. government had reached a breaking point. The U.S. government had violated the 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty, allowing gold miners into the sacred Black Hills. The Lakota resisted. The government issued an ultimatum. All Lakota must report to reservations by January 1876. Sitting Bull refused, and thousands of Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho warriors gathered under his spiritual leadership near the Little Bighorn River in Montana. On June 25, 1876, General George Armstrong Custer arrived with 268 soldiers, confident, arrogant, completely underestimating what awaited him. Crazy Horse executed the military tactics, but it was Sitting Bull's vision that had prepared the people, his spiritual leadership that had united thousands of warriors from different nations under one purpose. The battle lasted less than 1 hour. Custer and all 268 men under his direct command were killed. It was the greatest Native American military victory in history, and it made Sitting Bull the most famous and most hunted Native American in the world. After Little Bighorn, the U.S. government sent wave after wave of soldiers into Lakota territory. The victory had been extraordinary, but the response was overwhelming. One by one, Lakota bands were hunted down and forced onto reservations. In 1877, Sitting Bull made a decision. Rather than surrender, he led his followers north, into Canada, into the territory of the Great Mother, Queen Victoria, where American soldiers could not follow. For 4 years, Sitting Bull and his people lived in Canada, in exile, far from their homeland, far from the sacred Black Hills, far from everything they had fought for. The Canadian government was not hostile, but they could not provide the buffalo that the Lakota needed to survive. The great herds had been decimated. Starvation became a constant companion. One by one, families trickled back across the border and surrendered to American authorities. In 1881, after 4 years in exile, Sitting Bull surrendered. Not in defeat, not in submission. He surrendered to save the children who were starving. He crossed the border at Fort Buford, North Dakota. He handed his rifle to his young son and had his son handed to the American officer. His message was clear. He was not surrendering to America. He was choosing to return for his people. After surrendering, Sitting Bull was held as a prisoner of war for 2 years at Fort Randall, South Dakota. When he was released, he was placed on the Standing Rock Reservation, confined, watched, treated as a threat even in captivity. But Sitting Bull refused to be diminished. He continued to speak out against the theft of Lakota lands. He refused to sign treaties that would reduce the reservation further. When government officials came to get signatures, Sitting Bull stood up and walked out. In 1885, he joined Buffalo Bill Cody's Wild West show. For 1 season, he traveled across the United States and Canada. He was introduced as the Killer of Custer, a title he never accepted. Audiences who came expecting to jeer at a defeated enemy instead found themselves confronted by a man of extraordinary dignity and presence. He earned good money. He gave most of it away to the poor children who gathered outside the show venues. After 1 season, he returned to Standing Rock. He had seen enough of white America. He had seen the poverty of its cities, the inequality, the suffering of ordinary people. He told those around him, "I would rather die an Indian than live as a white man." In the late 1880s, a new spiritual movement swept across the reservations, the ghost dance, a vision of hope that if Native people danced and prayed, their ancestors would return, the buffalo would come back, and the white settlers would disappear. The Lakota embraced it, and the U.S. government panicked. They saw the ghost dance as a sign of uprising. They banned it, they sent soldiers, and they decided that Sitting Bull, still the most influential voice among the Lakota, needed to be silenced. On December 15, 1890, Indian police trained by the U.S. government came to arrest Sitting Bull at his home on Standing Rock. A struggle broke out. Sitting Bull's followers tried to prevent the arrest. In the chaos, Sitting Bull was shot. Not by American soldiers, by Native American police, men from his own nation working for the government he feared. He was 59 years old. He died in the dirt outside his cabin, on the land he had refused to abandon, surrounded by people who had once followed him, now turned against him by the government he had spent his entire life resisting. 2 weeks later, the Wounded Knee Massacre killed over 300 more Lakota. The era of Sitting Bull was over. But Sitting Bull's legacy did not die with him. Today, he is recognized worldwide as one of the most important figures in Native American history. His face has appeared on postage stamps. His name is known across the world. The Lakota Sioux, the people he gave everything to protect, are still here, still fighting. At Standing Rock in 2016, when thousands gathered to protect their water, they carried the memory of Sitting Bull with them. He predicted Little Bighorn before it happened. He refused to sell the Black Hills when every other leader was pressured to sign. He spent 4 years in exile rather than surrender his people's dignity. And when he finally came back, he was killed for still refusing to be silent. He never lost a battle. He was never defeated by an enemy. He was only stopped by betrayal. Sitting Bull was not just a warrior. He was a holy man, a prophet, a political leader, and a father who gave everything he had, including his life, for his people. His story is one of the most powerful in American history, and it deserves to be told on his own terms. If this story moved you, share this video so more people can know the real story of Sitting Bull. Follow the page for more untold stories of Native American history, and tell me in the comments which Native American tribe or leader do you want to see next.